The Yu-Gi-Oh! TV show first premiered in the US in the year 2001. It premiered on Kids WB, which growing up was the place to watch for new shows. I remember when I watched the show for the first time. It was the episode where Yugi and Pegasus duel through a VHS tape. I remember seeing this episode for the first time and thinking that this was a really strange show. Part of me just wanted to ignore it because of how strange it was, but part of me was also intrigued by all the cards. I loved seeing how many different cards there were, and all the different ways that they used them in the show. Of course, most of the ways that they actually used the cards in the show didn't really make much sense, but it was still really cool to me back then. Not long after, I started seeing Yu-Gi-Oh! Pop up everywhere. In school, in stores, and of course, in the commercials.
The all-new Yu-Gi-Oh! Trilogy, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, this Saturday at 11:10 Central and Pacific on Kids WB.
The Yu-Gi-Oh! Craze was just beginning in the US, and everyone was in on it. So of course, I eventually started getting into it myself. I remember buying my first pack of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards at Kmart. I also got my very first starter deck as well, which was the Yugi starter deck. And my brother, who also played this game with me, ended up getting the Kaiba starter deck. And the starter decks actually came with some pretty decent cards, including the Dark Magician, which went on to become one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards of all time. Looking back now, I remember all the fun times that I used to have just playing this crazy card game with my brother and all the friends that we knew from school. Even though most of us didn't really know what the rules were back then, we were just kids having fun, and that's all that really mattered. Another really big thing that was going on back then when we were growing up was America Online. And I started seeing people taking interest in dueling online in chat rooms. And it was horrible because we had to type out every card that we had, and we had to trust our opponent to be honest about what cards they had. And let's be real here, if you ever dueled against any of these people in chat rooms, they'd almost always lie about what cards they had. Besides that, there were a few unofficial fan games back then, but we needed a better, more official way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! On the internet against other people. However, we'd have to wait a few more years for that to even become a reality. In the meantime, to hold us over, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Power of Chaos Trilogy was released on the PC. These games were important not only because they were a huge part of my childhood, but they were also the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Games to come to the PC. And since Phase 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Online did take a lot from these games, I figured beginning this series by talking about these games first would be the perfect place to start off on how the legacy of Yu-Gi-Oh! Online first began. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we start this series off by taking a look back at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Power of Chaos trilogy. The first of the trilogy was Yugioh Destiny. This game was originally released in November of 2003. And in Yugioh Destiny, you can learn to play the actual card game with Yugi, who taught you all the basics such as summoning, flip effects, and everything in between. Additionally, the player can duel against Yugi to collect cards and build up their own collection. And the artwork from the real cards were used in these cards as well. Yugi is actually voiced by the same voice actor as in the show, which is Dan Green, and he's just as dramatic as always.
You're going to activate a spell card? Can't be! What?
This game only features 155 cards, which were from the earlier packs that were out at the time. You defeat Yugi to win more cards and make your deck better. So in earlier duels, you just kinda have to hope to get lucky to win better cards in order to put together a somewhat decent deck. I remember Trap Hole, Raigeki, and Change of Heart being some of the cards that you had to have in your deck. The AI in this game wasn't exactly the best, so Yugi could sometimes make some really bad moves, which could lead to a few easy wins. I remember spending weeks trying to collect all the cards, only for it all to be erased randomly because the game stopped holding a save. But overall, it was a really fun game. However, it wouldn't be long until the next installment of the Power of Chaos trilogy was to be released. A year later, on the 6th of April 2004, the next game in the trilogy was released, Kaiba The Revenge. It was basically the same game as Yugioh Destiny, but updated with over 400 cards to collect this time around. The same voice actor for Kaiba in the TV show returned to voice him in this game as well. And of course, he's just as dramatic as Yugi.
If you even think for a second you're going to win, you're lying to yourself. This scar represents my pride and soul as a duelist. I summon my almighty Blue Eyes White Dragon! What? Ah! You!
Jesus Christ, guys, calm down, man. But not only that, he also likes to talk a lot of smack, and is definitely the toughest of the trilogy if you only had the starter deck. You could import over cards you earned in Yugioh the Destiny, so that helped a lot in being able to defeat Kaiba more easily. The best part of this game, in my opinion, is of course, the music. It makes you feel like you're in a dance club or something, but it's freaking catchy and I love it. Overall, this is probably my favorite of the three games, but it wouldn't be long until the next and final Power of Chaos game would be released. It was on July 2nd, 2004, when Joey the Passion was released on the PC. It had 771 cards to collect in total, and the same voice actor from the TV show returned to voice Joey in this game as well.
Listen up! A true duelist doesn't back up from nobody, cause only cowards don't stand up to a challenge. You better come strong, cause it's time to duel! Not too shabby, but you ain't gonna beat me with those lame attacks. What? Can't be! Yeah! Man, I got totally whooped. But I'm never gonna quit as long as I got my whole future ahead of me.
The game also adds new dueling choices, new dueling options, and more decks for the opponent to use. You can also duel a friend via landline, which was actually one of the first official ways to duel against another player on the PC, making this Power of Chaos game the one that had the most content. Your duels against Joey were ranked, and the more you won, the higher rank you got. And with each higher rank you got, the difficulty against Joey would increase as well, giving him better cards to use against you. I remember getting so angry as a kid whenever I lost to Joey, because he would say crap like this.
Let me give you some advice. I didn't win because I'm the #1 duelist in the world. I won because you stink.
These games were the predecessors of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Online would eventually be like. And not only that, but they helped set the stage for the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. The Power of Chaos games were great and fun for the time, but people wanted something more. But little did we know that only a year later, we'd finally be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Online on the PC. Join me in part 2, where we'll be discussing Phase 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Online. What are some of your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! games to play? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm personally a huge fan of Duelist of the Roses, and I'll probably end up doing a video on it in the future as well. I'm going to be uploading weekly again, so be expecting part 2 to be uploaded sometime next week. And before I go, I just want to say thank you to everyone for supporting the channel, and I appreciate everyone that stuck with me and supported me throughout the years. And I'm glad to be back to finally doing videos again as well. If you guys have any future video suggestions, then be sure and leave them in the comments section below. I also have a Patreon, so if you guys want to support that, then I would appreciate that a lot as well. By donating to my Patreon, you help support the channel, and you help support the funds for future videos as well. So if you're interested in helping out me and the channel, then the link to my Patreon will be in the description below. If you guys enjoyed this video, then be sure and subscribe for more. And be sure to click the notification bell as well, to be immediately notified of when I upload part 2. Follow me on Twitter at @ABrandonThePast for more updates on video progress, stupid memes, and whatever else I say on there. Thank you all for watching, this has been Brandon, and I'll see you guys in part 2.